So I'm going to put my stuff on Do Not Disturb because people like to call me all the time. Where's your questions at? What can I help you with? What can I do for you to make your life easier? And if you wouldn't mind, you drop it in that question box right there. That would help me find it. Be less cool. You are so gosh darn appreciated. All right, I'll try to be less cool. What's up? Can low carb cause headaches? I'm not aware of any data that indicates that. I have heard some people complain about it, but I'm not aware of any empirical data about that. Can I use the app without exercise? Sure, you absolutely can. The app functions based off determining your total daily energy expenditure, and you don't have to be exercising for the app to be able to do that, and then make the necessary modifications in order for you to lose body fat or whatever your other goal is. But what I will tell you is exercise will absolutely help. And I think that if you're focusing on diet, but you're not appreciating or taking advantage of the benefits of exercise, I think you're really missing out on a lot. Not just the physical aspects of exercise and the energy expenditure aspects of exercise, but also exercise has been shown to increase your sensitivity to satiety signals. So when you exercise, as long as it's not an excessive amount of exercise, for the most part, it has an actual appetite suppressant effect. And you get benefits from exercise that are independent of weight loss. And pretty much every diet out there, most of the benefits, like 90 to 95% of the benefits, are due to weight loss. Whereas exercise gives you benefits that even if you don't lose a single pound, you get some pretty significant health benefits. Does the app do what a person or coach can do, like a one-on-one coach? Well, there's all it so this is like you can hire LegalZoom to do your like legal stuff, and that can absolutely work for you, absolutely. And for the vast majority of people, that's probably all they need for the legal stuff. But if you have more involved goals or you need a greater level of support, then there's probably still a place for one-on-one coaching. But if you look at what online coaches do, they're going to take in some data about you. They'll ask you some questions. They'll use that to formulate your plan. Then hopefully every week they're going to have check-ins with you to determine how you're doing, how the plan's going, and do changes need to be made. And that's what our app does. Now, I'm not saying that for every single person in the world, the app can get you the same results as a one-on-one coach, but you also have to consider that you're paying $9.99 a month, whereas a great, reputable nutrition coach is going to start at about $200 a month, at least. So if you're somebody who's really independent, you are good with compliance and that sort of thing, the app can absolutely get you very similar benefits as a one-on-one coach. But if you're somebody who, like if you struggle with emotional eating, that sort of thing, then you might need a greater level of support, especially for like habit and lifestyle behavior change. Although we are going to try and add more features to the app that will focus on more coach heavy and behavior heavy things. Can you talk about TEF? If I eat 1,000 calories of McDonald's or 1,000 calories of chicken and rice, how will that affect body fat levels? Well, first off, we have to assume that protein will be the same. Actually, we don't even have to assume that. TEF is a very, very small amount of your total daily energy expenditure. But let's play this. Let's play this game real quick. Let's play this game. So let's just say, I mean, you said McDonald's. Let's just say a Big Mac. So I'm just going to look up. I don't know what the macros are. 30 grams of fat, 45 grams of carbs, and 25 grams of protein. So let's just do some math real quick. So 45, 25, 30. So I'm just going to, there's a range for TEF. Protein's 20 to 30%. Carbohydrates are 5 to 10%, and fats are 0 to 3%. So I'm just going to use the high end range for each one. All right. So that's 100 calories for protein, 180 calories from carbohydrate, and 270 calories from fat. So if we add those up and we do the TEF calculation of the amount of energy expenditure required for each of those macronutrients, oh crap, my calculator's on my phone. Hang on, let me bring it up on my computer, which is being slow. I think what you're going to find is the difference between McDonald's and chicken and rice is going to be much less than you think it is. You haven't said how much chicken and rice, so there's also that to consider. But I'll just do something like something reasonable, like 150 grams of chicken, and then like let's say 150 grams of rice. So let's see here. So 100 times 0.7. So the net you would get calorie-wise from that protein content is 70. From the carbohydrate, it would be 180. Oh my God, this calculator, 180 times 0.9. So you get into 162. You guys are going to have to bear with me for a second. This calculator sucks. All right, so the total net calories you would get after you take out the amount for TEF as an estimate, because again, we're estimating, okay? The total amount calorie-wise you would net, 162 plus 262 plus 70, is 494 calories. So actually, I know how to figure this out with chicken and rice. We got to match the calories. So there's 550 calories in a Big Mac. So we got to get that from chicken and rice. So I'm just going to have to figure out what that is real quick. So hang on. I can't use my app because I'm live on Instagram. So hang on 1 second. Just bear with me. So chicken is going to be, if we had, let's just say, let's do double the protein. So 50 grams of protein. That's 200 calories. There's probably going to be about 7 grams of fat in this dish. I'm estimating, but it's going to be close. So that's 63 plus, that's 263 minus 550. What do we need in carbohydrate? Divided by 4. So 71 grams of carbs. I promise this math will make sense. I'm doing a lot of it in my head. Okay, so actually it's 72 grams of carbs. We'll round up. So what does that work out to? Keep in mind, we are doing double the protein content, which is really going to pump the TEF up on this dish. 71 times 4 times 0.9, and then I'm almost there, guys. 63 times 0.97. All right. So in this example of chicken and rice versus McDonald's, the difference comes out to a whopping less than 40 calories. Less than 40 calories. So in terms of energy expenditure. So if you ate the Big Mac, your net calories approximately, because again, we're just taking an estimate, your net calories would be 494 calories. From chicken and rice, it'd be 456 calories. Big friggin' whoop. So when people make this, oh, a calorie is not a calorie because of the thermic effect of food, I just doubled the protein. Just doubled the protein. And it's less than 40 calories on the whole. So, yeah, I mean, it is a difference. But if you ate that, 4 times a day, what you'd end up with is a difference of about, got to bring up my calculator again. You'd end up with 192 calorie difference. Not inconsequential, but it's not going to end the obesity epidemic. So anyway, there's that. All right. I'm sure I'm way backed up on comments because I just did math right in front of everybody. All right, let me see. I've answered stuff from Facebook. Let me see about Instagram. Now, I'm not saying you should eat McDonald's. So that's the other thing, because everybody will straw man what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should do that. It's probably not a great idea because the amount of chicken and rice you would eat is going to be much more satiating than McDonald's. But people saying, 500 calories from McDonald's is way different than 500 calories from chicken and rice in terms of fat loss. On a per calorie basis, not really. All right, let me look at some questions on Instagram. One moment. Okay. How long does muscle protein synthesis last for once initiated? So this is actually something that I directly looked at in my PhD thesis. You can actually download my thesis from my website, and we looked at this. So about 3 hours. So once you trigger it, it's about 3 hours, and that seems to be independent of amino acid availability. So we saw that even though protein synthesis lasted 3 hours, amino acid levels were still elevated at 3 hours and actually had only started to come back down by like 5 hours. So yeah, it's interesting. It seems to run for about a defined period of time, and then it's done. My plan is to tone as much as I can, being already muscular. How much volume should I have? Meanwhile, either in reverse or on deficit. That doesn't really make much sense, but I'll try. So first off, it's important to point out that toning is a marketing term. It's made up. It has no actual meaning. A muscle can do two things. It can get bigger and it can get smaller. It does not become more toned. Tone, the appearance of tone, is simply due to the loss of body fat and having the requisite amount of muscle mass. So if you have enough muscle mass, if you lose enough body fat, you will look toned. A lot of people say, especially a lot of women will say, I'm already really muscular. How do I say this without being really, really brutally honest? People who are muscular up to a certain point, muscle looks good. Fat is what looks bulky. And if you look at somebody like my wife, who has a ton of muscle mass for a drug-free female, most people would consider her, when they see her, they'd be like, she's really fit. She doesn't look bulky. So most people who think they have a lot of muscle, but they want to look toned, actually don't have as much muscle as they think they do. And more muscle would make them look better, not worse, in most cases. Okay, let's see here. Is there a benefit to increasing protein beyond what Carbon recommends while in fat loss mode? No. I love protein. My PhD was in protein. When I did my PhD, I was looking for more reasons to eat more protein more frequently. I assure you, I'm not going to put a protein recommendation in there that is not in line with the maximum benefits of protein. In fact, our protein recommendation is probably well over where you max out the benefits of protein. We just, we love protein and it's highly satiating, so we recommend high protein, but you get almost all the benefits from high protein around 2 grams per kilogram of body weight. That's 1 gram per pound. Let's see here. All right, going back to Facebook and YouTube. I'm going to download it. I got a friend who highly recommended. Awesome, Byron. Thank you. Hope you enjoy it. What's up, Lerone? I've lost 70 pounds with alternate day fasting over the last 3 months, but I'm hitting a wall mentally. Would you recommend carbon starting in a maintenance phase or continue fat loss slower? I think you could probably continue fat loss and just try it a different way. I mean, you can also, I think what you're going to find is you've probably not been tracking your intake. And what's probably happened is there's probably some amount of metabolic adaptation coupled with the fact that as you've gotten leaner, your alternate days where you're eating, you're probably starting to compensate by eating more. So I think tracking is going to be a real eye-opener for you in terms of making you aware of what you're actually doing. And I think you're going to start to see quite a bit of progress. Any new features planned for Carbon in 2022? Yes, absolutely. We spent a really big portion of this past year really basically redoing the app from scratch to improve the performance of the app. And that ate up a lot of time. And so now that that's pretty much close to done, we're really going to start banging on these features. So 2022 is going to be the year of the features, hopefully for Carbon. So we're really excited about that. Let's look at Instagram. Thank you, Chris. We appreciate the recommendation. Thank you so much. All right. How to implement Carbon for show prep? This is a great question. And we've had several people win pro cards using our app. So that's really rewarding for us, especially me since I cut my teeth in bodybuilding. What I would do is you're going to have to kind of figure out, all right, how much weight do I need to lose approximately? And then you need to figure out, okay, what rate of loss do I need to get there in what time frame? So if you say, well, I've got to lose 40 pounds, I have 25 weeks to do it. 40 divided by 25 is what? Sorry, 1 second. I can't use my phone calculator because I'm on Instagram. 40 divided by 25. So you need to lose 1.6 pounds per week. So what you would do is when you go to Carbon, you're setting up on your fat loss mode. You'd put in, at least 1.6 pounds per week. I would actually recommend that you choose a rate of loss that has you ready early, maybe by even like 3-4 weeks. So like losing 40 pounds in 25 weeks. I would say that like that example is probably at the absolute limit of what you can do. I would go for something more like, 30 weeks or something of that nature. So, and that doesn't even account for diet breaks and that sort of thing. So yeah, I would give yourself probably a month cushion. That way, if you do hit sticking points, the app has time to adjust. But you can definitely do it. It definitely works. My man, I'm down 27 pounds since July. I wanted to thank you and the team. Boom, baby. Love hearing that. Lerone says, just getting home from my trip, but haven't tracked all week nor checked in last Sunday. Should I change goals or just check in and click non-compliant, stay with the same calories? I would do that. I would just check in and click non-compliant. Saw a YouTube video of you 13 years ago. Time flies. Yeah. I've been around. I turned 40 on Wednesday, so I've been around the block. Both the app and the workout builder, and I mentioned the books, are amazing. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thank you. Let's see here. We're glad you love the app. App is definitely faster since the last update. Love hearing that. Yeah, we're trying to make sure. The 3DMJs often caution that people have more fat to lose than they think. Yes. And I think the other thing is people think, well, if I've got 40 pounds of fat to lose, I'm just going to lose 40 pounds and it's all going to be from fat. If you're getting stage lean, you are going to lose some lean body mass. There is no way around it unless you're going to be on performance enhancing drugs. I mean, maybe there's some genetic freaks out there who lose almost exclusively body fat, but even adipose tissue is 13% lean body mass because you need protein to hold the adipocytes together, and you lose that. So like even if you lost all fat, you would lose 13% of your weight from lean body mass. So you have to account for that in the fact that if you get a body fat, a DEXA done or whatever it is, and it's showing you a certain amount of body fat you got to lose, even if you lost exclusively body fat, you're going to lose an extra 13% from lean body mass. You need to account for that in your total weight loss target. Happy belated birthday. Oh, sorry, it's next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. Okay, let me see what else. I just waved at somebody randomly. Oops. Sorry, I'm not a creep. I think. How do I feel satisfied after meals so I don't go for more food or overeat? So I think there's a couple aspects to this. The first one is you have to realize that at some points during fat loss, you're probably going to be hungry. And you just have to be okay with that. I tell people, sometimes you just got to sit with your hunger. It sucks. It sucks. But the important thing to realize is that that feeling is not going to last forever. And I think we get caught up in feeling hungry and are like, oh my God, I'm never going to feel full. I'm always going to be hungry. No, it will pass. It will pass. It sucks, but just learning that and telling yourself that this will pass. I'm going to sit with this discomfort. It's going to be okay. And then obviously choosing really, really voluminous foods, like low energy density foods in terms of, fruits, vegetables, things that have a lot of weight, but not a lot of calories, and they occupy a lot of space. Also, making sure that when you're eating mindfully and you're not just like snacking like mindlessly. They actually show that if you like focus on what you're eating and think about it and think about like chewing in the process of just the entire experience, that you actually end up more satiated. So really doing that. And yeah, like I would look up the satiety index. There's a satiety index out there that has a list of foods that are the highest, that are ranked highest in terms of satiety. Carbon put me at 2,000 calories for fat loss. I've seen girls on a cutting diet lose 2,700 calories. Can you tell me why so low for 195-pound male? If girls are losing into 2,700 at 2,700 calories, they're either doing a lot of steps and exercise and activity, or they're large, or both. So the other thing is to realize is that people say, well, 195-pound male, well, if you're relatively sedentary and you're working out like an hour a day and you put in that you want to lose like 1.5 pounds a week, I mean, yeah, that's probably about what that sounds about right. You have to understand that like there are some people who can lose weight on a lot of calories, but like a lot of times you'll see this number like, oh, I'm losing weight at 2,700 calories. Well, the person is a personal trainer. They're on their feet all day. They never sit down. Meanwhile, you're working a desk job. Now, maybe the 2,000 calories is too low for you, but if you follow the instructions and you are compliant for a week or two, if it's too low, you'll lose weight too quickly and the app will raise your calories anyway. So just be compliant, trust the process, and the app will adjust based on how you progress. Let's see. Okay. Let me get Another one here. Maybe a stupid question, but how do I know I'm an optimal body fat? Well, for a female, like I think the standard is like 25%, and that's fine. Like it actually, like once you get to like a normal level of body fat, getting really lean beyond that doesn't seem to confer a whole lot of health benefits. In fact, the vast majority of health benefits from weight loss are gleaned in the first 10% of weight loss. Let's see. I'm obese and in the 400s. Is it healthy to be in a calorie deficit for an entire year? Or should I break? So when you have a lot of fat mass, you have kind of like this energy. Think of it like a gas tank on a car, right? So you would have like large fuel reserves. In fact, there was a case study of a guy who was very obese and he fasted for an entire year and he didn't seem to have any long-term problems from it. Now, I would not recommend that, um, but certainly you can afford to be a little more aggressive. And if you're in a calorie surplus or calorie deficit for a year, I don't think you're going to have any negative effects from that. What I would say is if you want to take time at maintenance or you want to take, it can feel kind of like you're running a marathon. And so what I tell people is like, listen, you got to be in this for the long haul, right? And for you, just getting 50 to 100 pounds off is going to be a great, great benefit on your health. So focus on getting that off and keeping that off. So what I would do if I were you, what I would do is have benchmarks in your mind. Okay, I'm going to hit this, and then I'm going to kind of reward myself with a diet break. As long as that diet break doesn't turn into just, well, I'm just going to do whatever, right? So a diet break or a period at maintenance is a lot different than just kind of like a break from the diet where you're eating whatever you want. So as long it's okay to give yourself some more calories and kind of like take a breath and rest for a little bit, I think that's fine. So I kind of compare it to, would you rather jog an entire marathon or would you rather like sprint for a few miles and then rest and then sprint and then rest? And there's no right or wrong answer here. Either way can work and either way will get you to your goal. I just know for me, I kind of like to pick out like fat loss sprints. So for example, during the holidays, I'm always going to go to maintenance. It just makes life easier. But then, I say, okay, well, from January to March, I'm not traveling and things are going to be relatively like in a schedule. Okay, boom, that's a fat loss sprint. All right, March, I'm traveling the first week, so I'm going to take a diet break there. And then I'm not traveling again until mid-April. Okay, boom, fat loss sprint. And then, so I'm kind of like setting it. I would set up your diet breaks according to your schedule and your lifestyle in terms of whatever's going to make the most sense. But you can, in terms of health, you can absolutely do it for an entire year. The most important thing is setting it up so that you can be the maximum level of compliance possible. I wish you the absolute best of luck. If you need any more assistance or help, feel free to reach out to myself or the Carb team. We would love to help you. All right. Sandra, how are you? I've used Carb to successfully lose 75 pounds and I've been on maintenance now for a couple of months. I find myself fighting against hunger and appetite cravings more than when I was cutting. Is there some physiological reason for this or is it all psychological? Will this abate with time? So Sandra, I don't have a great answer for you with this, but I do think a lot of it is psychological. Sometimes like it's kind of like, let's use the marathon example again. If you're running the marathon, then you're in it, you're doing it, you're focused, right? And maybe you don't even feel tired. Like some runners say they get that runner's high, right? You don't feel tired. And then you cross the finish line and you sit down. And now you're like, oh, right? The adrenaline wears off, all that kind of thing. And I think there is something to that with, long-term fat loss. So I just think like when you have that pedal down and you're really focused, and I noticed this too after a contest prep. I'd finish my show and the physical hunger was similar, but the amount of mental like, God, I really want to eat because now I could because I didn't have something holding me to that was much worse. What I can say is that it should abate over time. It'll get better. I would really, even though you're eating more calories, I would still focus on really trying to get those low energy, high satiety foods and just continue to do the habits that helped you get to this place so far. But yes, over time, it should dissipate. Just continue focusing on those habits. You're a rock star. You've done great, and I'm sure you're going to continue to do great. And again, if you need anything, please reach out to myself or the support staff. We would love to help. You are welcome. If you were forced to do either a carnivore diet or a vegan diet for 90 days, which would you do and why? Very simple, vegan diet, and it's not even close. The carnivore diet is, while we have research demonstrating that vegan diets may have certain benefits, or I should say plant-based, because you can do a vegan diet and make it a very low quality diet. Minimally processed plant-based diets are very healthy. Okay. If you're getting vegan mac and cheese and vegan chicken wings and stuff, and that's your vegan, it's just as bad. But, when it comes to like the carnivore diet, you're kind of in a really bad situation in terms of, all right, if you want to get enough fuel in from fats because there are no carbs, you're going to have to eat fatty cuts of meat that are higher in saturated fat. That can raise LDL. And LDL is a causative factor for heart disease, despite what LDL deniers will tell you. Now, can you do here's where people get it twisted. People go, well, I did a carnivore diet. I've lost weight and I feel better. Cool. It's not the question. The question is like, what are you comparing it to? If your comparator is a Western diet full of junk food, then yeah, it probably is better. Is it the best thing you could do? Hell no. So anyway, if I had to pick, it would be a vegan diet because there's more diversity and more fiber, which, by the way, fiber is really good for you. In fact, it's one of the it's one of the only nutrients we have. If you plot fiber intake against cardiovascular disease and cancer, it is pretty much a linear reduction in risk, and it does not appear to have a top end. So fiber is awesome if you want to live long and healthy. All right, just waiting for all the low carb people to get angry at me now. Completely compliant all week to macro targets, but I feel like I have to check non-compliant if I have a meal out because it could be 700 or 1,700 calories. It's so hard to know. Yeah, this is something a lot of people struggle with. What I'll say is like when you get to where I am, where you've been doing it for a really long time, you can be pretty good at guesstimating. What I would say is if you want to be safe, what I'll typically do is I'll take each. So there's 2 ways to do it. Or 3 ways to do it. You can take a food scale with you, which unless you're competing, I don't recommend. You can search on the app for like if a dish says, chicken risotto, something like that. You search chicken risotto and there'll be something that comes up and you can select that. Or you can do your best to estimate the portion sizes of each of the ingredients of the dish. And then you can put those in individually. And what I would do is I would take whatever you think it was and add 25% to that. And then you're giving yourself a little bit of cushion. But it's a tough thing because, like, everybody, it'd be great to be eating out. Here's what I'll tell you. If you can eat out and you're still making progress, awesome. But if you're not making progress, this is a conversation I had with my wife one time because she's getting ready for a show and she was not having progress and she was eating out pretty often. And I was like, well, maybe you shouldn't eat out so much. And she did a week of basically eating at home, and sure enough, she dropped 2 kilos. So, again, I'm not saying you shouldn't eat out. I just think, be aware of the downsides of eating out. What is the time frame of a complete novice wanting to compete in a bodybuilding show? I have no idea. It depends on how much muscular development you already have. Like, it could be anything. Constipation a thing during a cut with high protein? Constipation can be a thing just because you're eating less volume of food. Keep the fiber high, keep the water high. Hang on, sorry, one second, I'm looking for something. Love your app, lost 10 pounds so far. How do I know when to reverse diet? You don't need to reverse diet. You can just lose the weight and you can hit maintenance. That's also a possibility. But, it's up to you. It's up to you whatever your goals are. But knowing when you need to reverse, you don't need to reverse diet. You guys use the word need a lot, but you usually use it in the wrong context. There are very few needs in terms of nutrition. Drinking water in freezing temperatures in Germany is tough. I'm warming up. Let's see here. Thoughts on all in versus reverse dieting? It shouldn't really even be a comparison, honestly. If you're somebody who's considering doing all in, that was, for those who aren't familiar, all in was, who did it? Stephanie Buttermore. Stephanie Buttermore did all in, but basically all in was, I'm going to completely obey my hunger signals. I'm going to eat whatever I want, and I'm going to be okay with putting on weight. I see women misapply this tool so many times. Stephanie talked about how after she had competed, she had absolutely ravenous, unfillable appetite. And she did all in to try to normalize her hunger signals. And I believe she put on 40 pounds during that time. Now, I see women do this and basically are like, oh, I want to do all in, but I don't want to gain weight. Well, guess what? I want to save $1 million, but I don't want to have to alter my lifestyle or sacrifice things. Like, you guys got to understand what tools are meant for, If you want to do all in because you've developed disordered eating habits and you are ravenous, that's fine. But just understand that, like, it means that you're probably going to gain some body fat and some weight. Now, that's fine, but you need to have that conversation about what you're doing for. Reverse dieting is a completely and utterly different tool. That is for people who hopefully don't have any kind of disordered eating patterns, who are looking to increase their calories slowly over time with minimizing fat gain. So you have to understand what the tool is meant to do. Like, I see people saying, hey, can I lose fat doing intuitive eating? Intuitive eating is not meant for fat loss. That's not what it's meant for. Like, that, it's a completely separate tool. That's like saying, hey, I have an eating disorder. Should I do reverse dieting? that's not the tool that it's meant for. So I'm not ranting at you. I'm just like ranting about this in general. Why might you not be losing weight in a calorie deficit? Because you're not in a calorie deficit. Sorry, when I say that, I mean losing significant body weight over a period of time. Because I can weigh in, if I weighed in today, so I was 205 pounds or 204 pounds last week. I hit as high as 209 pounds this week. Now, if I only weighed in on those 2 days, I would think that I gained 5 pounds. But my average weigh-in is exactly the same as the previous week. So again, when people say things like, well, I was in a calorie deficit, didn't lose weight. Well, you weighed yourself sporadically at different times of the day, and you were shocked that you like weighed this one time and weighed this other time and your weight wasn't different, or you had gained weight. Well, calorie deficits don't work. No, that's not what that means. So if you are not losing significant body weight on average over a period of time, you are not in a calorie deficit. All right. And with that, I think I'm done for the day. Guys, Carb Diet Coach, fantastic tool. You saw all the comments on here of people who use it and love it. If you're not using it, $10 a month, well, actually less. And then if you buy like 6 months or a year, it's way less. You cannot get a better tool, nutrition tool, for the price. I'm sure people will go ahead. If you're Carbon users and you love it, throw it in here in the comments real quick. Let people know because it really is a great tool. I use it. And I mean, Holly and I use it. She finished runner-up in the world in fitness model, and she used it, Carbon, to get ready for that show. I'm a 2-time national champion powerlifter, and I use Carbon to help me drop a weight class. So it's the bee's knees. Click the link in our bio. Much love for those of you who are already members. Thank you so much. We truly, from the bottom of our heart, we appreciate your business, your loyalty, and we hope to bring you even more value and assistance and help and change more lives in 2022. And we wish you guys the absolute best. And we hope you have a great holiday. Thank you. Catch you next time.